Nizzy's Sports Chat. I am your host, Nizzy. And in this video, you guys, we're going to be breaking down a little bit of controversy in the old school NBA players here. We had Scottie Pippen go on to the Dan Patrick show yesterday. I'm sure all of you guys have already seen many of the clips from that interview. Dan Patrick was interviewing Scottie Pippen. I'd asked him a few questions on his comments he made in a recent interview with GQ, basically saying that that shot back in the playoffs when Scottie was still playing with the Bulls back in the 90s, when Tony Kukoc hit that game winner in the playoffs there, and Scottie Pippen wasn't in on that play. He was pouting and whining, and ended up sitting on the bench there and never got put in for that play. Kukoc ended up hitting the game winner anyways, so it ended up being a good choice on Phil Jackson's part to have him shoot the game winner. But the crazy thing here, guys, is that Scottie Pippen's coming out saying that Phil Jackson made this decision based off of a race, which is pretty crazy to me considering that Michael Jordan was their star player on that team, and he shot, 90+% of the final shots to win games there for them, and he was a black guy. So to think that it was racially motivated, that Scottie Pippen never got that final shot in that game, is just crazy to me. As far as I know from that situation there, I wasn't watching basketball back then. I was like 1 or 2 years old, but at least from what I've seen from What's the Last Dance there and some of the stuff that I've watched on just the little clips of it and stuff like that, Scottie Pippen didn't want to go in the game. He was being a sore sport, complaining, and basically refused to go in the game for the last play of the game. So that's why Kukoc got the shot. So I don't understand how that's racially motivated. And then the funny part too is Dan Patrick literally says to him in the interview, he says, "So you realize by saying this, you're calling Phil Jackson a racist?" and Scottie's like, "I got no problem with that," which is just asinine and crazy to me. The dude is just delusional at this point. I think he is so butthurt about how his career went, how he signed that terrible contract, and then obviously with Michael Jordan coming out with The Last Dance, kind of exposing that contract to the world, more so than what we knew back in the day. A lot of us younger people, like I said, when the Bulls were going off in the 90s there, I was only born in 94, so I didn't really watch basketball a lot back then. I learned a lot more about the Michael Jordan era and what was going on through The Last Dance, and just watching some old reruns of games and stuff in the playoffs and things like that. Just crazy though. Scottie Pippen is clearly butthurt still about what went on freaking 20 plus years ago. And just insulting too. This guy came on the Dan Patrick show when he's explaining what was going on when I believe it was when Michael Jordan had called a play for, they were in the huddle right before. This was on The Last Dance as well, when Steve Kerr was going to get the final shot there and ended up draining that final shot. And Scottie was going on to say how that was all acting, that was all a show that was put on by Jordan in front of the cameras. And then he goes on to proceed to ask Dan Patrick if he understands English, which is just crazy. Why would you even ask a guy that question? Obviously he understands English. He's been speaking English to you the entire interview. And then you go and insult a guy who's interviewing you and just asking you questions on things you had said in a GQ interview. And obviously Scottie Pippen's salty about it. So then he goes and insults Dan Patrick and basically thinks that he can't speak English, asking him, "Hey, can you speak English?" Like, who the hell says that kind of shit? Like, just salty as hell. I mean, Scottie Pippen is clearly off of his rocker a little bit here. A little bit delusional, a little bit crazy, it seems, almost right now. Talking to himself in third person as well. I mean, explaining how, if Scottie Pippen was on my team, I would have been shooting this. And what would you do if Scottie Pippen was your main guy and your main option? Wouldn't you give Scottie Pippen the ball? Wouldn't you let Scottie Pippen shoot? Like, just very weird. It was a weird interview all around. He was very defensive the entire time. Clearly, the guy's in his own head about the past and the decisions he made. Obviously, he wasn't too happy with himself about signing that abysmal contract that he ended up signing there when Michael Jordan made fun of him for it kind of in The Last Dance. So obviously that's been plaguing his mind for years and years, but hey man, who else do you got to blame other than yourself? You're the one that signed the dotted line. No one forced you to do it. Nobody forced Scottie Pippen to sign that dotted line. He signed it all by himself. So, I mean, none of us should be feeling sorry. You still made millions of dollars. You won 6 championships. Why be salty? It just makes no sense to me. I mean, these egos of these guys, they got to put their egos aside sometimes and just understand that I'm a millionaire, had a wonderful career, was one of the top players in the game while I played, got to play with an outstanding talent, and Michael Jordan got to win a lot of championships. Why are you so salty, Scottie? What's there to be salty about? Like, it just makes no sense to me. These guys got to look for the grass greener on the other side instead of looking to complain about everything. And, you know, I guess the better saying for it is have your glass half full instead of your glass half empty all the time, right? And just look for the positive things about the little things in life. I mean, Scottie's a millionaire, and this guy is sour and salty as ever, clearly miserable. Can't even have an interview without lashing out on people, disrespecting Michael Jordan, disrespecting Phil Jackson. All of his teammates, just ruining relationships with all of those Bulls teammates he had back in the 90s. I mean, it's just crazy to see. This guy's gone completely off his rocker. Wish him all the best. Hopefully he gets better somehow, man. I mean, that's not fun to be in that mental state where you're so pissed and upset and have so much regret from what happened in the past. I mean, the dude's just got to move on and accept that he had a great career, made a lot of money still rich. I mean, what, you know, in the top 50 all-time basketball players ever in the Hall of Fame. How the fuck are you upset about life here, bud? Like, but you know, that's is what it is. You got these millionaire dudes with their big egos, and they can't take it when they're not the best of the best all the time. So, is what it is. I think Scottie Pippen's definitely not accurate about those racist comments about Phil Jackson. I don't know Phil Jackson personally or anything like that, but this is the first time we've ever heard anyone come out and say anything like this about the guy. Obviously, one of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the greatest coach of all time. I mean, the guy's outstanding as a coach. Never had issues before. No one's ever come up with these racial narratives before about it. So like I said, I think this is just Scottie being salty. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section down below. You think Phil Jackson's actually a racist, or is Scottie Pippen just being a little salty about the past? Really curious to see what you guys think in the comments section down below. Once again, you guys, that's all I got for this video, but really appreciate the support and you guys taking the time to watch this video. Please drop a like, drop a comment, and if you so choose, subscribe to the channel. And once again, this is Nizzy with Nizzy Sports Chat.